Welcome in to Fishbowl Sports. Everybody, my name is Chief here, and joining me today is Bear. We are doing our Louisiana Ragin Cajun baseball preview, along with softball, men's basketball, and women's basketball as well. We're going to be recapping everything that happened yesterday. Cajuns won back-to-back games against Kansas State. They are now on a nice winning streak, uh, you know, for the year, dating back to their seventh win in a row. It was a 3-2 11 inning win against Kansas State last night. I mean, Sawyer Pruitt during this Kansas State series had a great uh, outing. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But before we get into anything else here, let me bring in Bear. How you doing today, Bear?
Just with the circumstances, I'm doing pretty good, Chief. I had to have a little procedure done at the urgent care yesterday, and I'm gonna be miserable for the next few days, but it's all good.
Hey, hopefully you start feeling better.
Oh yeah,
That's all you can hope for.
yeah. Antibiotics and calls and iodine will take care of it. So
Yeah. So, looking at like Warren Nolan with the Raging Cajuns, they are RPIs 18 so far. Strength of schedule so far this year is, excuse me, 27. Non-conference strength of schedule is 28. So Cajuns started off the year kind of cold a little bit. They lost their first two games. Ended up winning that Sunday game against Missouri State. And then, since then, been on a roll. They knocked down Rice, Maryland, in Kansas State. Now they're going to take in a three-game series against UC San Diego. Um, you know, uh, Bear, what you thought of the Cajuns baseball team so far this year?
man, I tend to focus more on LSU than I do UL, but I'm here to tell you I am impressed by what they've done. Over the last couple weeks in this season, like, man, they have really, Diggs has really got this team turned the corner, and Carolyn off here is sitting at 18 this early in the season. And, another potential sweep this weekend with UC San Diego, and then you get LSU next week in Lafayette. Like,
And a sold out Teague Field.
at the sold out Teague Moore Field, and then you have a series against Dallas Baptist, which is also winnable at that weekend. So, I mean, and I'm gonna say this, LSU fans don't come after me, but with the way LSU played against McNeese the other night, UL's very well got a chance to beat them too.
Yeah, I think that's kind of something that we're all kind of like. I mean, every Cajun fan's looking forward to the LSU game. It's the only game that's been
Well,
sold out so far this year. So, I mean,
yeah. Well, I'll just say this, like I said for the softball team, like when both of these teams are good, LSU and UL, and that regardless if they're playing each other or not, like the whole state wins because this is such a great rivalry between both sports with softball and baseball, and because that's where they're the most equal. There's still a little gap, but that's where they're the closest in talent is on baseball and softball. And when these two teams are both playing well and they're both schools and they both and like the whole state wins. It's so awesome to see both and LSU good at the same time, so that this rivalry actually begins.
yeah, I think it's gonna be a very good game. I'm expecting it to be very well. LSU's pitching hasn't been exactly what it's been over the last like what 2 or 3 seasons so far. It is kind of like in that realm, like they could, throughout the year they improve and stuff, but right now it's definitely favoring the Cajuns here. So let's go look back at this Kansas State win
But
for the Cajuns here real quick. But what were you gonna say, Bear, before we kind of go forward?
if this game the other night, the key to beating LSU is speed left-handed pitchers. Apparently, that's how you should offense. So if Diggs has any on the staff, be the time to throw.
So Drew Markle, delivered a walk-off blast in the bottom of the 11th inning to lift the Cajuns to a 3-2 win over Kansas State here.
Oh,
And
he is so fun to watch.
yeah, he is. Um, it was kind of a back and forth game here. The Wildcats came back in the extra frame and they hit their ninth, opened the ninth with a solo home run. That got everything up to two because the Cajuns took the lead 2-1 about the half inning before that. Excuse me, y'all. Um, so the Cajuns struck out first in the opening inning. Liamade doubled to center, moved to third on Marco's single and scored on Hernandez's sacrifice fly for a 1-0 lead. Kansas State even scored in the sixth inning, and it was 1-1 there. Cajuns regained the lead in the eighth without the benefit of a hit. Jose Torres threw a walk. Pinch runner Josh Lim stole second in that, and then with 2 outs, Liamade struck out, but Lim raced for third, and it was a wild throw. Got past the third baseman, went back to toward the dugout, and then scored on that error there, and they gave him a 2-1. But it didn't last long. You know, Kansas State hit that home run, tied it up 2-2 in the ninth, and then, which set the stage for Marco to deliver his walk-off home run in the 11th inning here so far. So I want to see, let's look at this. I want to see if they got any like averages from this game here. Um, Pulling this up here, yeah, they got them.
While you're looking that up, I'm looking at what Warren Nolan had UL predicted at the beginning of the season, and right, they're showing them at an RPI of 58 and 14 and 16 in conference play, 34 and 22 overall. Like, then they're way ahead of schedule of that right now.
Yeah,
So
that's above the predicted the average. It's kind of weird. I'm sure
yeah,
NCAA is they're going to be releasing their official RPI numbers on a Monday. That is something that we're all going to look up to and kind of keep track, but they haven't done it yet. So, um, Tyler Pappenbrock, 5 innings pitch. He pitched beautifully. Only gave up a hit in that game. He had, uh, you know, one base on balls, 3 strikeouts so far. Parker Smith pitched very well too. He only gave up a hit. He gave up a run, and he had an error, but he only had one base on balls. But I mean, like he still had 3 strikeouts. So the Cajuns pitching altogether that night had 7 strikeouts. So they were doing very well against Kansas State. Yeah, on that yeah. So but I mean, like the Cajuns they played very well. I mean, they're a very good team. They look like they're way ahead of schedule, like you were talking about here. So, how you see this UC's like UC San I can't talk UC San Diego game coming up. I'm about to say San Diego's. Yeah, who you
well,
got?
I mean, let's see their record. I'm here.
Yeah, got
So they're, three and four. Three overall. The RPI of 79 right now. I mean, they played Houston. And then at UL, at Cincinnati. So like, I don't. I mean, I think the Cajuns are probably gonna get another sweep. It would a sweep would. I mean, it's not gonna really hurt their RPI if they lose one of those games. But obviously, I mean, with a team that's 3-4 like this, that's not playing very well, you definitely want to get the brooms out and take care of business.
yeah, yeah. You really want to. I mean, like that's kind of one of those that you're like, okay, let's go. Let's not let's not fool around and not keep them in the game. Let's just get the job done.
Yeah, because you have that midweek game LSU, who's RPI is, you know, let's see, I thought they have a for sure a top five RPI. No, I mean LSU's your RPI now showing full. It's not what it's be.
I mean, LSU hasn't really like well.
Yeah,
He had
honestly.
San Diego.
They haven't got it'll go up once they get into conference play, but
Yeah,
like
regardless.
typically you want to sweep, you can, and then hopefully beat LSU. But if you and then you play Dallas Backers, who's also got a low RPR, but they're gonna have it's gonna go up when they get in the comp play, and ideally want to be from them so that that week conference play starts. I mean, you got UT ran playing in the East in your first conference here against South Alabama, so like they could be sitting, with about 4 to 5 losses going in the conference play, which is which is way ahead of what they were supposed to be doing this year.
According to what Warren Nolan was putting out, like I said, I didn't really have a. There's a lot of young guys here, and I'm always kind of curious how young guys are gonna adjust to the game, and that is kind of something you need to like watch out for, right? So, Sawyer Brewer, one of those freshmen, and he had combined with two relievers on a 3-hit shutout. Basically, they ended up winning 1-0. They didn't give up a single run, you know, and that's whenever you need them freshmen to step up like that, and that's one right there. He could definitely work his way into that 3-man rotation if he keeps up doing what he's doing. Um, Pruitt's 2 0 on the year. That's his second career start. So, I mean, he struck out 9 in 6 innings. I mean,
That's awesome.
He was willing and dealing on Tuesday night or Wednesday night. I mean, Tuesday night,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Getting lost in my days. Yeah, he was definitely was willing and dealing, and he was putting them up, sitting them down, making them boys go to timeout. But yeah, that great performance. That's what you want on a team, great pitching, and the crazy thing is,
Yeah.
if Chase Morgan doesn't get hurt preseason or just be hurt, period, who knows how deep his Cajun pitching would have been? Because that's their ace. They did all this without their ace. Yeah. That's the most incredible part about the whole entire thing. Because Chase Morgan was an All American in 2024. Yeah. So he can throw it. It's just gonna be interesting. Like, is he coming back this season, or like what's gonna happen? Like, it's starting to look like he's gonna be at the end of the season more than anything else. When he comes back, but Bear, how you see this San Diego like series going?
I mean, just to kind of touch on what you said about them being a young team and the ace being out and everything, All American like. I mean, whatever coaching strategy that Coach Diggs has decided to go with this year, or whatever he use, like to have a team this young that's playing this good, like they're very disciplined at the plate. They don't strike out a lot. Uh, they probably hit into a few more double plays than you'd like to see, but as a young team, I mean, it just as young guys, like they just don't have that. Their body hasn't finished filling out. They don't have that power yet, but they're very disciplined at the plate. They don't strike out a lot, and they're just like an old school gritty, team. They're gonna fight. They're gonna fight you to the end, and obviously, I won the death in a 3-2 win. Like, but I mean, you see San Diego, like they got swept by swept by UCLA, and then they played some you know some competition for them. That they're 3-4 and 5 or 3-5 right now, something like that. So I mean, I think that the Cajuns should at least 2 out of 3, but I would love to see them get a sweep going into that LSU game.
Yeah, I mean a 10 game winning streak into the LSU game is that team's gonna be rocking.
Oh yeah.
And I mean the Sun Belt's a very tough baseball conference, believe it or not.
Yeah, Coastal, Georgia Southern, Georgia State. Oh yeah, speaking of Georgia Southern, coming off of a big win, a midweek win against Georgia, so yeah, last night.
Yeah,
so
that's
congrats to them.
Yeah, that's I mean that midweek was crazy.
No, it was Georgia State. I'm sorry.
They had Georgia Tech. They had Georgia Tech, I think.
Okay, Georgia Tech. Well, then the other one beat Georgia.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, congrats to both of those teams for knocking off. So,
Yeah, like it's gonna
but
be one of those things, you know.
yeah,
Like just trying to see like where all this is gonna go here. So if you're looking at like to keep up with the statistics of the year so far, um, for the Cajuns and stuff here, they've been, you know, looking at overall here. Blaze Rodriguez is another freshman we got to bring up. He is
oh, he
phenomenal.
he is he's gonna be a stud.
Yeah, he's I know Deggs mentioned like he put him in some very like high caliber players like Kyle DeBarge, and he said that as a freshman he's better than DeBarge was, and it's like okay,
That's a
that's I'm like that's a lot in preseason. Hold on,
that says a lot.
and you know he's proving it right now. He's hitting 294 so far this year. Uh, you know I got a chance to watch him a good bit in this that past weekend against Maryland. They were kicking Maryland's teeth in basically. This weekend, especially on that I think Saturday 9-1 win. I think it was. It was a beautiful day at the ballpark that day. But man, they were knocking that ball over the field here. Dex does this weird like infield alignment, where he'll take the third baseman and he'll move him to between first and second and put him in that gap, and he gets outs that
Mhm.
way.
Yeah,
And I mean,
the shift.
yeah, the
Yeah, the
shift,
shift is still a thing in college, and it
yeah,
works.
that yeah, the shift it worked very well. Because I mean, it's very hard to hit timed hitting. Time hitting is a very important skill to develop in college. Um,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
because like if anybody hits down a third base line, they're getting at least a double or a triple. No if ands buts about it because there's no way to stop that ball. Like it's not like even if they would touch it, they kind of slow it down. It's still they hitting it down that third base line. That's it. Hernandez is hitting 323. And another thing I think we need to bring up is so Jose Torres did come back during that Saturday game for he's you know he's basically back. You could basically say that he's back in the lineup and stuff, but the Cajuns have kind of a very good they have a good problem. Torres is great, great catcher, but they also have another good catcher. Um in let's see, I'm trying to remember his name. Uh darn. Steven. Steven's playing yeah. He's also been playing very well. This has been a very you know, he's in 281 right now. So it's kind of one of those things there where they're just like if they God forbid one of them gets hurt, they have depth at that catcher position, and catcher's a very physical position to play in college baseball. It's a rough one. And
yeah. They seem, yeah, they seem to have a little more depth this year than they have in years. So
yeah,
that's,
so as a team, the Cages are hitting 240. Opponents are hitting 212. So far so good. The Cajuns pitching has improved from last season, and I think that's kind of I wish I had a comparison between this year and last year. I mean, look at their ERAs right here. Brewer doesn't have a he's 0.00. He's 2-0. Four appearances, 2 game starts, and
yeah.
he's pitched 14.2 innings so far.
Mm-hmm.
As a team, their ERA is 4.05. Their opponents are 4.40. Now, if we're going to look back at last year, pull that up real quick, because this is important. You want to see how well, like, because these numbers ain't going to lie to anybody. That's batting. Why did it? It switched on me. It pulled a switch on me. So pitching,
Andrew Herman's got a 2.38 ERA. That's
yeah,
not
yeah,
in 11.1 innings pitched. Like
yep,
that's pretty good too.
yeah. The Herm has been very good himself too. So last year they had a 5.53 ERA last year. Now, Grant,
Yes,
you see, that's a big improvement.
much improved.
Yeah, and that's
That's
what
a that's different.
and that's the difference right there.
That's a 3 run difference game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a team. They're 5.53 this year. They're every time you switch this thing, it goes back to batting. That's annoying. But look, they that improvement is you got to give credit to the coaching staff here. They did change their pitching coach. Maryland's pitching coach came in, not Maryland. Marshall's pitching coach came in, and Gunnar Leger, former great Cajun pitcher, was the pitching coach. Went to Southern Miss,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they had a bad year with him at the helm. Right now, it's looking like the pitching change may have been needed.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely helped you. I mean, you go from a 5 ERA to a 2 ERA, like that's a 3 run difference. That'll definitely win you a few more ball games.
Yep. So
Especially like your 3-2s, your 1-0s, like they've had the last
yeah,
couple games. Like those are the games you need to win. And Kansas State was a regional team last year, so for them to sweep Kansas State in a 2 game series, that speaks volumes.
yeah,
And the committee's going to absolutely see that later on in the season.
basically. So let's move on to Raging Cajun softball, if you will. So they got a doozy ahead of them this week. I want to make sure I'm going in the right direction here. Let's see if it's gonna let me. Okay, good. I was like, is it plus or minus? They hit this button here, but they got that Texas A&M team.
Oh,
Oh, this weekend. It's gonna be a tough one. I'm not gonna even lie to y'all. It's gonna be a rough one. But they're inconsistent. That is one thing about the softball team here. They're good. They're better than they were last year, and that needs to be said. We had the whole. I think we talked about them last episode, Bear, with LSU softball because um like they should have won that game. That base running error,
so
yeah, that
yeah,
like we kind of all agreed with that basically there, because all they had to do was hit an outfield and that's game over.
yeah, because LSU had a shift on. All they had to do was, and they had a shallow infield to keep that runner at first base. So all they had to do was put it in the grass, and that would have been game over.
Yeah, they beat Northern Iowa 10-2, 6 innings on Tuesday. They rebounded from their loss against Houston on February 22nd, 0. They got run ruled in that one. They lost 0-10. They beat Missouri 9-1 in Lake Charles. Yo, I'm still dealing with that stuff. Trust me. I've been trying to put it off and see how well I can talk. But I do think I sound a little bit better. I think I am getting better.
Yeah,
I mean, oh, I'm trying to hawk up a lung here.
at
Seems like.
least I will say that at least UL softball can beat McNeese, unlike LSU baseball. So let's just get that out of the way.
Yep. Saint. They're gonna play Saint Mary tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Cajun should win that one. Then they got Texas A&M. It's gonna be in College Station. That's where all this is getting played at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I think they'll drop that Texas A&M game. Then they'll play Kennesaw State. I think they'll beat Kennesaw State and St. Mary again. Then they play Texas A&M again on March 1st on this Sunday. So
Yeah.
so they'll probably lose.
Just want to
Go ahead, Bear.
no, I just wanted to kind of throw this out there that as far as conference RPIs go, Sun Belt is number 3 right now. So
That's softball or baseball.
Yeah, softball.
You know, that's interesting. Usually like you not really talked about too much with softball.
But yeah, so it's SEC, Big 12, Sun 10, ACC, Summit League, Mountain West, West Coast, Missouri Valley, and Big Sky. The Sun Belt sitting at number 3 in conference RPI.
You love to see it though. Something different.
Yeah. Well, that just goes to show the overall, talent of the Sun Belt and the scheduling and everything else.
Yep. So I think the Cajuns dropped two in this weekend. I Best case scenario for the Cajuns is just to get one against Texas A&M. I don't think they get two. I don't see a path for two.
Yeah.
If they get one,
Same.
if they can get one, they just have to get one of the two. It doesn't matter which one. That's going to help them immensely whenever it comes time to start looking at large bids and stuff like that. So that will be something that we'll have to look at and see what is going on whenever we get down to that level there. Because I think we're kind of all just kind of wondering, like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going on? That kind of thing is going to be one of the things that we're all going to have to look at when we start comparing all these things here. So I'm trying to see if so shout out to women's tennis. They beat Weatherford College for nothing for the Cajuns. But yeah, so yeah, I think they'll be all right though. I think Cajuns are going to be okay in softball. They'll win the majority this weekend, and they'll probably end up losing two against Texas A&M, but it's all right. I think they'll be okay, and then have that they'll start getting ready for Abilene Christian. Then you got Oklahoma, so it's a brutal path, but you know they can take like Oklahoma's a little bit down this year, so they might be able to steal one against Oklahoma. And the committee's going to look at that toward the end of the year, especially if the softball stays at a number 3 RPI. What you think, Bear?
Yeah, I mean, almost. This is preseason stuff. Why I said nah. Yeah, I mean, those are gonna be some tough games. They're probably gonna go 500 for that week. Splitting the games. I saw it's down this year, even with Sydney Bertram transferring from LSU to Oklahoma. So, I mean, they might have one if they, like you said, they might have a chance to steal one against Oklahoma if they come out and play like they did against LSU. They have to shut down the Oklahoma bats,
Yeah, that's the thing.
and they can do that. They did it against LSU, although LSU's not that great of a hitting team right now.
Yeah,
But
I would say the Achilles heel of this Cajun softball team is probably the pitching at times. There's times they can just like get hit all over and stuff like that. So I would say probably pitching and probably fielding right after that. But as far as bats go, bats are the Cajun strength this year.
oh yeah,
They definitely got more power hitters this year than they last year. That's what they were lacking last year. So we're gonna move on from softball.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna agree with you that their bats are definitely a lot better this year than they were last year. And pitching is still a little erratic, but overall better this year than last year.
So Raging Cajun men's basketball. They were hot, then they are not nearly as hot as they were. Um, it's been kind of a rough one so far. They're gonna play Arkansas State tomorrow at 7:30 on the road. I'm hoping that they get hot in the tournament and win the whole thing, but it's gonna be a lot. They're 10-20 on the year. It hasn't, you know, gone perfect for Kiwanis play, but they've been dealing with a lot of injuries this year. A lot, their top three players basically haven't played basically the whole entire season. Um, so hopefully that they can get something going here and be able to close out a solid year. Uh, Sunbelt tournament here. Arkansas State's gonna be a tough one for them to beat. I think they'll probably end up probably dropping it to them because I just think they're on that run right now. They ended up beating Texas State in the last home game this past Saturday. We had went there, and then they're gonna after Arkansas State they go to Pensacola to play the Sunbelt Conference Championship. Yeah, which they're gonna have to win to get in there. Jackson Alvera has been a good shooting person for him, but he does sometimes tend to cause a little bit of turnovers, but it's not bad. That's definitely coachable and fixed. He's a young player. He's gonna get better. Like I mean, that's just one thing right now that we've seen here. But um, he's their prop and Finister. Dorian Finister has been very good for the Cajuns this year too. I'm hoping all these guys come back because I love seeing them play together. They play exciting basketball, and it's a good thing to see.
Yep, same.
They're good at they got good at rebounding. In the first part of the year, I think they were trying like their offense was too slow, and that's why they would lose games. They play better, picking up the pace and stuff, and the coaches that probably seen that, and they're able to work on some things and stuff on offense. It seems like that really helped them out a good bit there. So let's look at this Sun Belt Conference standings here real quick to kind of get everybody what's going on here. So where everything's gonna be seated at here because there's not gonna be much change. The Cajuns have one spot left. There's only one. I mean, not one spot left. One game left. Everybody makes a conference tournament, so I mean, they can win, just whatever. So standings as they sit, the Cajuns are 13 or 7-10 right now. If they win, and Georgia Southern and they have Georgia Southern and Georgia State right there ahead of them, and they have Georgia Southern is going to be playing Marshall. So if they you want Marshall to win if you're a Cajuns fan, and Marshall's 11-6, so it's looking like they will probably win based on record here. And then they got Old Dominion, that's Georgia State who they got to play. Old Dominion's right behind the Cajuns. They need a win to try to get ahead of the Cajuns and see. But um, that being said, the Cajuns could find themselves. Let me count how many teams are fighting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cajuns could play themselves up to a 10 seed, 11 or 12 is where they're going to end up at here in this championship championship here. But they're going to play a lot of games, and that's the worst part about this here. And I know we were talking about trying to win all these games here because you want to be able to get out of that here. So they can get up to that 10 seed. They'll at least go to Wednesday where they'll have to play in game 4. So they're going to have to hope on Georgia State and Georgia Southern losing, which the Cajuns beat both those Georgia teams in the season. So right now, I'm guessing there's going to wait here. They won head to head on there. So that should be a Cajuns, head to head tiebreaker, and they should be 10. But just to be safe, you don't want to leave anything up to it. Just making sure they lose. I'm not quite too specific on the tiebreaker rules of the Sun Belt when it comes to that there. So I do think don't quote me on this, but I do think the Cajuns do. I think if they all ended up tied, I think the Cajuns do get the head-to-head wins, and I think that's the one of the higher tiebreakers. What you think, Bear? I mean, the best you could be is like Game 4, Pensacola at 7:30 on a Wednesday. And then if you win that, you end up going to what game is that? Game 4. They'll play the number 7 seed on Thursday, and if they win the 6th game, the number 17, they'll end up going against the number 6 seed on Friday. So that's 3 games. Saturday, you would have to play game 8 winner. They'll play number 3 seed on Saturday. That'd be 4. That's 4 games. Sunday, if you got to win that one, because that's your, no, you get a break. I think you get a break. See, game 8 winner, game 10. No, you don't. You don't get a break. You play 5 games in 5 days, and if you win that one,
Yikes.
Monday you go to the championship, and you play game 11 winner and game 12, and that's 6. That's why that number 4 seed, when we were talking about in the middle of the part of the season, was so important to get to, because that 4 seed, you're sitting right there Saturday, and then you play Sunday. You only have to play 2 games. That's it. Well, 3 games actually, but it's a lot more games you have to play. A lot more chances to lose. Simple, basic points being made there. I mean, it's gonna be a tough road for them, but I think they can get. I think they can get the job done. It's very much just trying to see what's gonna happen there. I mean, they really have to get everything going and just trying to see. I just hope they can get it going here. It's kind of rough on them, but I think they got something.
Yeah, it's you want to see them win at least one and not just be one and done. But I mean, with the way that they've been playing this year, and it just for them to even make the NCAA tournament, they'd have to win the Sun Belt. But that's a very hard task to do.
They got to get on a run. That's all.
But
I mean, yeah, crazier things have happened.
yeah, yeah. But I'm just kind of looking at this schedule right now from the season, and McNeese is 22-5. I didn't realize that they were still good.
Yeah.
But I noticed that LSU's not on this schedule. That would have been kind of fun to see these two men basketball teams playing each other to see who's actually better. That would have been kind of cool to watch.
Yeah.
LSU versus UL head to head.
I mean, like, I think the last time they played each other in basketball was NIT. I think a couple of years ago, and Bob Marlin wanted to fight. No, I don't think Will Wade said something to Bob Marlin. They wanted to fight each other in the middle of the court or something.
Like, is it every time these two schools get together, somebody else fights somebody, or the players end up fighting somebody? Like, come on, man!
No,
It's sports. It's rivalries. Like, let's keep it clean for the kids.
so women's basketball. Moving on to them, they're gonna have their Sun Belt Conference tournament coming up this next week too. Uh, Georgia State, they got to play them first here. So, but I mean, they did pick up a win against South Alabama on Saturday. I was like, when they Valentine's Day, I was like, well, that's kind of interesting that they actually won a game, but not to get them when they're down. But I mean, it has not gone their way at all. I can see them being one and done. I hope they win a game in that tournament though. At least they're. I mean, when you've only won 4 games in the year, it's been not too much to see. You're basically,
Oh,
yeah, it's basically done. I mean, it's gonna be tough on them. Hopefully, they can rebuild it and get back better. But I I don't have high hopes. What you think, Bear?
yeah. 3-23 overall and 2-15 in conference play. I mean, that's about as bad as LSU men's basketball. There's not really much to talk about here. You can just kind of like Saints fans just hope that next year's better.
So they are last in the conference. They got 2 conference wins. So let's look at this championship. I mean, they're the last seed, so they're gonna have to they'll play Tuesday. It's one. Like they're gonna go in the same kind of gauntlet as the men. Just go ahead to Monday, except they got one more game than the men. That's basically what's gonna happen here. So the men have a better shot at winning their tournament than the women do. It's just that is the way it is. If I had to pick somebody to win the conference tournament here, um, it's kind of a very tough one to be honest with you here. I know Marshall's been dominant. James Madison's been a good one too. Arkansas State, Georgia Southern, and Troy. They're all up there 15-2 in conference. Troy is. Georgia Southern's 15-2. Marshall's 13-4. Arkansas State 13-4.
Yeah.
James Madison's 13-4. Their overall record is Troy's 24-5. It's gonna be one of those 5 teams. There's obviously like if you go look at this conference standing here, I wish I could share the screen with this, but there's a gap like between James Madison, Old Dominion overall record 22-8, Old Dominion 17-13. It's a big drop off. There, James Madison is definitely the hottest team entering this tournament. If they win, they have 8 straight wins. Troy and Georgia Southern are running 5-game winning streaks themselves. So if I had to pick, I think Georgia Southern's going to win this women's conference tournament. If I had to pick somebody, then they, open the Cajuns, but I think they'll end up doing it there.
Yeah, there's definitely you have your echelons at the top, and it's just kind of like everybody else. It's out of those five though. I think it's going to come down to either James Madison or Marshall, and that's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
For the conference championship.
Whoever is the hottest at the end is going to win this, so that's just what it is. All right, we're about to get off of here, so thank y'all for tuning in here to this episode here of Fishbowl Sports. Hope you have a great, wonderful day. Hope you like this episode here. We'll be back here next week here. Hopefully I can clear up my voice. I try to give myself a couple more days rest with it. And just, hope to see y'all again. Have a good night. Fishbowl Nation. Anyone say get off the air here, Bear?
Yeah, let's hope Chief rest that voice so she can get better, and hopefully the rest of your week and the rest of your month goes better than even though it's almost ended, and March is a better month for you than February was.
Yeah.
Anyway, good night, Fishbowl.
Good night, y'all.